companies are changing. Companies are modifying their model, modifying their rules. What's Tradeify doing before we get into those changes if we want to go there? But what are you doing to stay ahead of the curve?
You milk a payout, you fail the account, you buy 10
another
more
one.
challenge, buy like 10 more.
Yep.
You just YOLO them all.
Yep.
When you get funded, you YOLO it again.
Yep. Account flipping.
Yeah. Sim farming.
Sim farming.
It's
I like that better.
Sim farming,
Sim
bro.
farming.
That's what I call it. And like,
So you think that's what's going to come to an end? How do I determine my starting balance in live?
Yeah, so for us, it's always going to be whichever is the smaller amount of either your current balance over the starting amount or 10% of the account. If we were copying you and you made 10,000, right? If we're copying you 1-to-1, we also made 10,000. We're willing to give you some of the profit that we made.
Wow.
As well. I mean, I'm not undercover. You see I'm answering support tickets.
I'm wearing a wig answering support tickets.
Yeah. But you see what? It's funny.
You got a name tag on at home.
What would you need to have 7,500 drawdown? 7,500, right? Well, probably a little bit more.
Right. So you're spending 600 something with you versus 7,500 of your own money.
Right. Well, less with the sales.
Even less.
With Asfx.
Discount code. Sure. Got to give
right
that
now,
a shout
40%.
out. Yeah.
Maybe even more coming up.
What's up, traders? Welcome back to the podcast. Got a very special episode for you today. We're in person in Miami with the man himself. CEO of Tradeify, Brett Simba, is here for part 2. So if you didn't see part 1, we did that on Zoom, unfortunately. Can't do all these in person. But that would be a great place to pause this video and go watch that right now. Before we get into everything that's going on with the prop firms right now and everything that Brett's got cooking for us, it would make sense for you to get a lay of the land of who Brett is and how he even got to this point. So before we get into all the questions today, and everybody, I really appreciate you guys sending both Brett and myself questions beforehand. I'm going to make this a super interactive episode. I'm going to look at my phone, even though I know some of you seem to hate that. They comment and tell me not to look at my phone. I'm going to read the questions specifically from you guys. So I'm not on Twitter or looking at pictures of my son. I'm actually going to feed him specific questions that some of you may have asked. So Brett, thanks for being here, buddy. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Rough week. For those who know, we had a pretty rough week at the business with some other stuff. I was sick a bit, but happy to be here. Happy to do this in person. The first time was great, so it's great to meet in person. And I'll try not to use my phone all off the dome here, so I'm not going to cheat like this guy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But all looking forward to doing this again. Yeah. And, let's get right into it, man.
Let's do first a little recap on you. For the people that are just tuning in for the first time and they did not pause and go watch part 1, like I just said, can you give everybody an update on just maybe who you are, how you got started in finance, and then how you got to this point with Tradeify? Yeah,
so Spark Notes, like you said, you guys can watch, the first pod, and I go a little bit more in depth and longer about my past and how we got here. But basically started trading in 2016-17 during the whole crypto hype. Joined a group, became like a moderator in there. Decided I wanted to make my own thing. Started one of the Discords. It was a Slack then, but I say Discords because everyone calls it Discords, right? Slack's the under.
What would we do without Discord?
Yeah, I don't even know. Who knows where the space would be? But made one of those. We grew the business until about 2020. A little slowly, everything started picking up. That was mainly around options, and then. Obviously, the whole meme stock, craze and COVID and everything exploded the business. So that started to take off. Within that year, 2020, though, we actually decided to start Tradeify. This was right before COVID, pretty much the beginning of 2020. And once COVID happened and, the meme stocks and all of that, I saw my business, Simba Stocks, which was the Discord, started to explode. So I kind of put Tradeify on the back burner at that point. It, didn't seem right to not put my full effort to what was taking off at the time, which was, the Discord group. So anyway, eventually we circled back around to this. Everyone and their mother does a Discord now. So, it seemed to be a little populated and a little bit saturated space. So I wanted to circle back here, and it seemed like the best time after getting all the knowledge from other businesses, et cetera. Yeah. So, here we are. We launched in August, and a little bit longer of a Spark Notes, but
no, it's good.
There we go.
Why did you decide to delay starting Tradeify? You posted on Twitter a couple of days ago that you actually filed for the LLC in 2020, correct?
Yeah.
But you delayed, and we talked about this a little bit before, but maybe touch on that for everybody too, of why you waited to launch until just a few months ago.
Yeah, so we... like I said, I was focusing mainly on Simba stocks, which was pretty much from like 2021 or so to like 2023, I mean, I had it from 2017, but that's when it started to take off and blow up. So then I switched my focus to Tradeify and a couple other businesses I have because I was tired of, my business was called Simba Stocks. I'm Brett Simba, so it's all revolves around me mostly. I wanted to have more of a faceless brand. I wanted to build something that, eventually I can have someone else either take over or, take more responsibility from me for. So that needed to be a faceless brand. So I wanted to start building some types of faceless brands. And that was the idea too with Tradeify in the beginning. But mostly that focus on Simba Stocks was the primary reason that I pushed this. However, when we circled back in 2023, it was also a good time because we've seen a lot of prop firms pop up in the past 2 years. For sure. I mean, the first one that I was trading back in the day, even 2018 was Top Step, the founding fathers of the space. So, after they were around for, 3-4 years when trading blew up, pretty much a lot of these other prop shops started to pop up.
Right.
And that's when we decided to start working on this, but not working at lightning speed. And the reason is because we wanted to take our time, see how the space was evolving, see what was working for other firms, see what wasn't working, see how those who just launched changed within a couple months. Because when you launch, you have a lot of ambitions, you have a lot of, hopes, and, you see everyone else doing well, but you don't really know what's going on until you start it, right?
Of course.
And we'll touch on that later, with what we did. But we wanted to see how these new props, navigated their first few months, et cetera. So, it just seemed like a good time to launch in 2024. We launched in August, so we probably could have launched sometime at the end of like Q1 or so.
Right.
But we wanted to get those fine details done on everything. And we wanted to make sure, when we scaled up or when we started to see a massive growth, we could handle it all
100%.
And we could be ready to, pivot to anything new, et cetera, at the time.
I think I can definitely relate to what you're saying about the personal brand, faceless business thing. When you did that and you were thinking about like, I'm going to start a brand that isn't revolving around me.
Yeah.
One of the big things is like, there are unknowns. So you were smart to kind of take it slow and not rush to see what unknowns did Jim and John and Joe not see, so I can learn from that, right? But team building, like putting the right people in place, from what we're going to talk about today with the legal stuff and the regulations to marketing, advertising, customer support. Has that been difficult? Because I think a lot of people are intimidated by the idea of taking maybe their small little personal brand and going to start that next big business.
Right.
Because they don't want to do all these other things. You've really worn that CEO hat well. You're balancing starting multiple businesses. So you're building multiple teams. Can you talk about what that's been like for a second? Yeah,
sure. So at Simba Stocks, like I had like moderators and different people, same thing as like all these other guys have done. But, I was hiring people to do things like customer service, handle marketing, handle just moderating in the chat, posting trades, different things like that, analysis. So I had a little bit of I had a pretty good understanding of like
putting people together.
Exactly. Yeah. Putting people together, having that team in place, et cetera. I worked with ads before and marketing. I partnered with other companies to do.
So you kind of felt like it was ready.
Yeah.
You were like, I've done enough where I know how to put the team together. I know enough about each area that I can know if they're doing the right stuff or not.
Right.
So let's go.
And I did a lot of affiliate work with other companies too, so like I knew kind of how affiliates wanted to be treated as well. I knew how it worked being on the business side as well as being on, the affiliate side, right? Yeah. So, and I was a consumer too. I joined a couple other groups while I was in mine just to see, how it was going.
As you should.
And I told you right before we started Simba Stocks, I was part of another group too that I joined at first. So, I was always a consumer before the owner. And I think that gives you the good perspective you need in order to balance,
what's right for the customer
exactly.
and then what's right for the business at the same
Customer's
time.
always right, but
you got to still make
the
money.
Business has to be right when you're making the customer right as well, right?
Absolutely. So that's a good little background and kind of like a lay of the land for where you're at right now. And I'm sure we're going to touch on some smaller details too, but let's talk about this past week. So this episode's going to go up next Saturday, right? So 2 weeks basically for everyone that's listening to this when it's posted. Trade of 8.
Yeah.
Speak to the people for a second because it was crazy.
Yeah.
You guys were sending out announcements in the Discord, emails, people were freaking out. Yeah. And of course, people will look to you first to provide them with what's going on. Is this a you issue? Is it a platform issue? What is going on? So give us like a quick summary of the issue and how you handled it. What do you think you could have done better too, if you would be critical of yourself and the company of how you handled the week?
Yeah, so I don't want to be quick about it. I'll give you the full summary on it. So essentially, prop firms work where, there's the prop firm business and then there's the platform that you offer.
Sure.
Right. So you have to partner with them, become a vendor of that company, and you're able to offer their services. So at the end of the day, like 95%, maybe even 99% of prop firms, they're not brokers. They don't own the platform.
Right.
So, they're not at fault, if something happens. But these brokerages, they're the ones that are offering you the environment, the sim environment, or even the live environment for some, for the traders that are with Tradeify and other firms. So I'm not saying that to put all of the blame on them, but when something happens, it's usually out of control it's out of the hands of all the prop firms for the most part.
Because you're kind of in the middle between the customer and the platform.
Exactly.
So if an issue happens with the platform, it's going right through you to the customer.
Right.
So it looks like it's your problem to the customer, but really it's the platform behind you.
Exactly. And, for the most part, that's, when there's a major issue like this, that is what it is. And again, TradeEvate team's been awesome. TradeEvate Ninja Trader. Ninja Trader bought TradeEvate in the beginning of this year, I believe it was. And they've been great to work with. I'm thankful that this is the first time we've had a problem since launch. So that's, September, 3 months, we've been without a problem. Some other firms with other platforms, they can have these like once a month or so. So, to have it only happen one time in 3 months is amazing. Yeah. And granted, there was a little bit lag. Tuesday was hell. Wednesday was, getting stabbed a little bit. And then Thursday was a paper cut. But, it helped us to understand the process for what goes on and how we work with Ninja Trader and TradeEvate or whatever platform a prop is using to basically find the solution and fix it for traders. So again, the actual issue that happened is there was a lot of latency issues, maybe some wrong when you're doing a market buy, you were getting a fill much higher or much lower. And that happens on platforms, right? Especially in sim, because it's mostly the sim environment only, because that's where, you have things like order matching, et cetera, et cetera. These aren't live trades going on the market. So that's where you can have these issues arise. So, then it comes back to the business. Again, the customer, like you said, only sees it from us. And it's up to us to navigate those waters. And, we talked with TradeEvate. I was on a call with them for 4 hours trying to figure everything out because it was our first time again. And from when I've talked with them, they said, the first time it happens, it's a shit show. You got to figure out how you're going to communicate what's happening to your customers as well as your developers because, it's the first time they're, getting into it. And each time is roughly the same. You'll see the same thing happen at other firms. It happened at a couple other firms that week also.
Absolutely.
So, we weren't the only ones. And again, that's because, if you're using the platform, it can affect multiple firms because they're using that platform as well. There might be different servers that they're on. So there was only a couple other firms that had this issue where you could see some firms that were partnered with TradeEvate, they didn't have this issue. And that's because you could be on what they call like a pod, which is kind of like a server somewhat. Who's ever on that specific server with the problem, they're going to have those issues.
That makes sense.
So, the good news is we navigated the waters. We were able to get, safely back to land, I guess you could say. And, going forward, we have a couple things in place with TradeEvate to kind of get ahead of the issue a little bit more where we can maybe communicate to customers what's going on. But the real aftermath is, dealing with all the support tickets that come in. We steadily had support under control since we launched. And, out of nowhere, we get about 7 times the tickets coming in daily.
Wow.
And it's tough because your customer support staff, they're ready to answer these questions, but there's such unique scenarios for each trader. Sure. Someone could be like, I did a market buy during the time that there was the issue and, I lost money. I blew my account, right? Or another person hit the daily loss limit. So that's actually 2 different problems. There's somebody who only failed
the day and someone who failed the entire account.
Right. So not failed the day, but can't trade. Yeah. Can't trade until the next day. There's somebody who actually failed. So like the differences are that person will be able to trade the next day who hit the daily loss limit, right? So we can fix all that. We can put their money back. They'll be good to go the next day, right? But the person who failed in our system on our back end, it says, hey, you failed. I have to let the developers know, hey, in our database in the back end, you have to flip this back. I can fix it all on TradeEvate. That's fine. But in our actual front end, on Tradeify's dashboard, as well as in our database, there's a flag when you hit that max drawdown, the max loss limit, that you failed.
Right.
So, things like that, we have to write down all the accounts, et cetera, et cetera.
Quick 10-second thank you to Edgeful for being the sponsor of today's video. If you're looking for a new edge in markets, in Forex, in stocks, in crypto, or in futures, check out Edgeful. There's a link in the description. And now let's get back to the video.
So now we have things in place, hopefully that'll automate it better. But again, it is a case-by-case scenario, so you really do have to go through all that support. But, it's little stuff like that I think is tough to get through. And when you have, 200 tickets coming in at the same time, and each problem takes a good 30 seconds to a minute at least just to even figure out before you fix it. And then you have to, go to the developers, tell them, hey, do this. You have to go to TradeZella for some issues and say, hey, what's going on with this specific person? That isn't a general issue.
Yeah.
It can lead to a backup. We got everybody done in like 48 hours. So, by no means was it anything too long.
But it was the first.
But it was the first.
It was the first big one.
Yeah, and we hope to get that, under 24 hours when it happens again or something like that.
Do you do that by hiring more support staff?
So we have a good amount of support staff. The main thing is that there's only myself and 3 other individuals who have access to anything in related to changing trades.
Keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, the keys to the kingdom, so to say, like the higher level support,
so it's got to go through you.
Yeah, so, and we actually did that for a reason, not only because it's not that we don't trust anyone with those keys, but we wanted to have support staff that we hired from the beginning, slowly see how they're doing, and then level them up to that point.
Sure.
In addition to that, the reason is because I think that it's good business to basically have like the founders get their hands dirty and see what it's like to go through all of that.
I totally agree.
So not only did we do it because, again, the first reason, but mainly the second one, because when these things happen, we want to be able to understand how the staff is being treated or what they're going through during that time. So I think it's important that, owners, and you see this in like some of those TV shows where like the boss goes in and like
100%
starts flipping burgers or whatever.
The coffee shop we were just in, the guy was in there. He gave me the coffee. Yeah. So it's like 100% business.
That one show, like where the CEO goes undercover. Undercover boss. Yeah. So like, I'm not undercover. You see I'm answering support tickets.
I'm wearing a wig answering support tickets.
Yeah. But you see it's funny.
You got a name tag on at home.
It's funny though, because like I'll answer a bunch of support. I do a shitload of support tickets.
Hey, it's me, Brett. And they're like, no, it's not. And you're like, yes, it's me, the CEO, Brett.
And people, when they respond to like the ticket, whether we finish the problem or not, or once we finish the problem, they're like, oh, thanks for taking the time, and I think that's like a little level of authenticity.
100%.
And I don't want to say that, when I'm always going to want to do support. I like it. I like going in there, but eventually I'm not going to be doing all of it. Of
course.
I'm not doing all of it, but I'm doing a pretty large amount.
No, but now that you're doing it, you learn what the little problems, the intricate details of it are going to, so you can train someone to better handle all of it. 100%.
And we do have our staff's handling it right now. They're still doing it, but I might handle it, 10% differently or 15% differently than them, and that goes a long way when you multiply it by X amount of tickets, customers, etc.
So before we go off the trade evade, I think that was well explained. What did you guys do to resolve it for the traders? Just because maybe there's people listening to this that are not trading with you, and now they're like, okay, you had an issue, but what did you actually do for me?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it when there's an issue like this. Basically, there's 3 paths. Okay. There's 1, you don't do shit. Probably the worst thing you can do.
You DM the guy back. You're on your own, buddy.
Yeah, like, hey, there was a problem today with the platform. You're
screwed.
If you failed, you failed, and like that's not right. So then there's the other way, where you can basically, if anybody had a red day, you can or ended the day red or something like that, you can revert back that day. Keep everybody because remember, when there's that issue, there's also people who are making money off of it. It just depends on what side you've bought market or sold market. So you might be up 3,000 instantly, or you could be down 3,000 instantly.
And if you're up, you're like, yo, I'm not saying nothing. I don't know what happened, but I'm not saying nothing. But if you're down, you're the first one to go put the support ticket in of like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to navigate because of that. So anyway, there's that issue. And then there's the third solution where you can just reset everyone. And, it's like a double-edged sword. At one side, you're, helping the people who are red. The other side, the people who are green are upset about it. But like, and it's very hard to designate who actually made money
And who just got lucky.
legitly, and who got lucky.
Yeah. In the right position at the right time.
And we're trying to work out the system to do that. I mean, we did as best we could to find like those 4-minute windows or like a 20-minute window and take those trades and add just those trades back, different things. But like even working with TradeZella, it's easier said than done.
Of course.
When doing that and like having the whole script to run. Because remember, there's hundreds of people sending in these tickets. You know, we would have to run a script for everyone to just go on back end on TradeZella with their APIs and our developers basically, you know, writing a program to be able to do all of that in one sweep.
Right.
And it's tough because you don't want to get it wrong either.
Right.
So, you know, we kind of did everything somewhat manually this time. TradeZella helped with a couple scripts, but yeah, it's just tough. You can't please everyone, right? And then there's even people, you know, at our firm we have consistency. A lot of firms have consistency. Even if you're green a lot, they were upset.
Really?
You know, because like then they're like, oh, you know, I made more than my consistency, different things. So
I didn't think about that. That's very true.
it's that's the lone wolf or
Take
like the
my
outlier.
money back. They're
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
So,
that's
like,
tough.
You know, there was a couple of those, but I'd say we did pretty good. You know, at the end of the day.
Oh, everybody in the Discord was super happy by the end of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, it took 4 days, but it was a big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the bigger ones in the last couple of months, not just for you guys, but just for the firms in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, Tuesday was like the worst. We actually halted. Yeah, Tuesday we halted trading at like 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and then for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
There's people who aren't in the Discord. There's people who don't check their email. They're like, what the fuck? You know, they see this stuff going, you know, like they're putting in a ticket then and they're like, what's going on?
Why is everything shut down? It's like, because you're living under a rock, but you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, like, why am I not getting a trade? Like, why am I not entering trade? Why does it say I'm liquidated? Why did I just lose all this money?
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's tough. You can't fit, you can't make everybody happy.
No, of course. But this is what you do when you get into this business. And I think you, honestly, getting into the weeds with your customer support, seeing the issue firsthand and then resolving it and doing your best to be real with everybody of like, hey, if you still have an issue, come to me, like we'll figure it out. I think that's the best way to handle it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we, you know, hoped to accomplish.
No,
I think we did.
I think you did. Definitely. Because I would love, I mean, everybody knows I would be the first one to sit here and be like, no, you didn't. And now all these people are commenting saying, when you sit with Brett this week and tell him what's up, you know, but I think everybody was super happy. Yeah. Now, one thing to kind of tie to the next point I want to talk about, you called something before we even did the first podcast. So I don't remember the date of the first podcast, but when we first met and we started talking, FTT came up and you said to me, they're not getting TradeZella. You called it, bro. You knew it. So you and I both saw the writing on the wall, whether it was Scott's behavior or his comments. That's not the way a CEO should act. I don't think anyone can defend that. He might, but I don't think anyone in the real, especially in corporate America, would say that is how a CEO behaves, using slurs that I don't even want to say on this camera, and I'll say anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's kind of stem now into TradeZella not accepting FTT, yet people throwing money at this firm, and then wondering when they went bankrupt, when they went under, why? How did we not see that coming?
Yeah.
So I want to hear it from a prop firm owner's perspective.
Yep.
How clear was the writing on the wall? And maybe could we give advice to those that are like, okay, well now I'm like skeptical of the whole industry. How can I trust Brett if I couldn't trust Scott?
Yeah. So we knew it was coming. I mean, it was so obvious. When you have issues not being able to pay out people, it usually means like
60 days late?
Yeah, you're waiting for money to come in. He even said, which is crazy to me, we don't use cash on hand. We only wait for like new fees to come in and different things. And I'm like, that was like...
Is that basically saying we don't have cash on hand?
I don't even know what to say about that. So, you know, at that point, it was just... Again, that was where the first letter started to go, you know, capital letter of the writing on the wall, like you said. So, you know, from there, that probably isn't even the first one. There was probably already a whole paragraph by then. But anyway, when that happens, or you have things like that happen, and you start talking about like how you have to change your model and different things like that, the whole way that the prop space works is you have to have the correct risk to reward from a business perspective, right? When you're giving people 60% off, and percent off doesn't really matter because you could do 90 and the price could be jacked up, 60. Let's just use raw numbers, right? When you're offering like a $60 or $80 product straight to funded to get a $1,200 payout, I think that's what the lowest
something like that
plan they had was.
Yeah.
Terrible risk to reward for the business.
100%.
Awful. And that's the primary.
And you allow them to copy to 20 accounts.
Right. And I said this from the get-go. You know, I voiced my opinion publicly on like Twitter, etc., X. I still always just say Twitter.
I say Twitter.
I don't know why. I said like the 25K, that's like what's stabbing them for the most part, that particular plan. Just because for the trader, you could spend like, at that time, you could spend $1,600 and get basically 24K.
It's crazy.
Like, insane.
Yeah, because, I mean, how did they not do their numbers to realize that a couple of these guys could put us in a bad spot in 1 month?
Right. And they had some issues with like copy. They had 40 accounts.
That's crazy,
There's no prop firm that offers, I think there's only, just Apex now does 20 accounts. There might be one other firm that I'm not thinking of.
Maybe.
But there's a reason. You have to be able to cap your risk, right? So they weren't doing that. They only had Rhythmic. Imagine this shit show I had on Tuesday. And by the way, I forgot to mention, we did end up doing pretty much what everyone said. We reversed all red trades for everyone in that period. There's a couple outliers that tried to game the system, and they were like, for instance, the problem started at like 8 a.m. Some of them were trading like 4 a.m., 3 a.m., like the London Open, and they're like, oh, like I lost money, reset my account. I'm like, dude, you didn't even trade when the issue happened. I see your fills are
You're
correct.
in that loss for 4 hours, buddy.
And I don't want to circle back, but just to touch on that too, a big issue is when you have a problem like that, people like try to milk it the next days, and even though there is no issue those days.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's what you have to deal with. Anyway, circling back to the fiasco. They had that going on. 40 accounts. They had the Rhythmic thing. They had to reset accounts a whole week in a row.
That's crazy.
And they were giving everybody all
free resets.
So you basically are just saying like nobody lost, nobody failed anything, and that is not how the model works. We all know pretty much that if you're basically saying, hey, anybody can place a trade this week, and if you lose, we're just going to zero it out.
Right.
It's not going to count. Don't worry.
That's crazy, bro.
They did that like days in a row.
I remember.
And they needed to do that because they needed to save face.
Yeah.
I remember they had their biggest Sunday, and he posted on Twitter that they had their biggest day. And immediately after, he still owed traders for like 45 days. And immediately after that, rather than like starting to pay people out, he hit up some of the biggest affiliates. He mentioned a lot of the biggest affiliates on Twitter, and he was like, guys, come back. I'm ready to get you guys back. I'll pay you to get on, or like, we're ready to
so he
make
would take
things,
that money.
He said we're ready to make things right. So rather than paying the traders,
he wants to pay affiliates to drive more sales. Crazy.
Dude, insane shit.
I honestly, some of the people like that do affiliate promotion for this stuff didn't even promote them. That like the people that I like.
Yeah.
And I think they saw it on the wall too. They were like, this is little too risky for their model. It might not be sustainable. But when their internal chats leaked and you saw how they were talking about PW and Rips and everybody, and you saw the way Scott talked about them, bro, and like how he just looked at us, people that could help him as like pawns in his game.
It's terrible.
That's like, now you're ruined, bro, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because how quickly can you ruin it? What's the saying, right? It takes 10 years to build a reputation and 10 seconds to lose it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to your point, like treating them like pawns instead of partners. That's what we call like our affiliates who, you're in there.
Yep.
You have the partner role.
Yep.
So, you understand it. It's a totally different relationship.
Well, you value, because you saw this, tell me if I'm wrong, but you saw how PW even helped grow Top Step, how some of these affiliates have helped firms like Tradeify. Boom. You get a couple of good affiliates.
Yeah.
Dude, they can literally build your entire business.
100%.
Right. So it's like you have to take care of those people immensely, especially like, are you running any ads for Tradeify on Google or Facebook?
We have like an issue right now.
Right. It's probably hard to get it approved by Facebook.
Well, it's not that. There's a couple people. We didn't even want to push ads yet because we were growing, and we'll talk about.
But that was sorry, real quick. That was my point. It's just you don't even need ads.
Yeah.
You need to value these affiliates immensely.
Right.
And he didn't.
Yeah. We haven't even we barely started our ads. Just to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
There were people running ads on us.
Really?
And so like Google flagged us as
because they were running
they don't think we own the business because we were late. So like we're in a whole shit show going back and forth with them right now. So we haven't even run ads and we're exploding. And we could talk about like, projections and like growth and all that in a sec, but just to go back to like, the whole fiasco and what happened. It's awful. Also, the other thing is a company that doesn't offer credit card and only did wire. That's a red flag right there.
Yeah, bro.
You can't get your money back.
Bro,
that's it. Like
you basically can buy weed in every state now with a credit card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can buy literally drugs with a credit card.
Yeah.
You can't buy a prop firm challenge from this guy with a credit card. Flag.
And I actually knew one of our whatever. like if I should say this or not, but our processor, like they were theirs.
Payment processor.
Yeah.
So when you're accepting credit cards.
One of them that we have.
Yeah. But what were you going to say? They denied them?
They were like shut them down. They put them back and shut them down. And I told the guy, I was like, listen, like I know some stuff inside. Like you don't want to do this, man. No. And they're like, well, we have a lot of risk checks in place. And like maybe that's also why they were struggling, because they had so many holds on the account. And when that's the main thing. Honestly, the payment processors are tough in this business because it's a high risk business.
And there's a lot of chargebacks.
We worked with two processors, and they said like in the entire space we were. I don't know if they said we were the top firm with the lowest percent of disputes, or like right in the top 3, but that's where we were for our first like 2-3 months of launch. I haven't followed up.
Why do you think that would be? Why would you guys attract the kind of client that wouldn't do a chargeback?
So I think it's just from the initial base and user group that we brought in, as well as just our overall support. I mean, even now we have a insanely low dispute rate. I thought it would be higher. To be fair, like any company that goes above like 3-4% or hits like towards that 3, that's where like the processor
Stripe will step in and say something.
Yeah, so nobody can't use Stripe,
right?
But like
the high
risk
who I
guys,
use. That's who I think about.
So they'll hold like a little bit more of your money. You know, most of them hold like anywhere from 5 to 10%, and like they might up that, or they might pay you out instead of 2 days. You know, they wait a week or something like that. So we've had a very good relationship with ours. The 2 of ours, and it's going really well, but that can hinder the business as well, because you have to do payouts, you have to do different things, right?
100%. So you can't have them holding your money for too long.
Exactly.
And I saw you just added wording on your website for checkout that says we do not offer refunds. That was a new thing, right? That was not there originally.
Yeah, so I mean, it's in our terms.
It was in the terms, but now it's big and bold right there.
I mean, I don't want to go against what we say, but like we refund people. Like,
do you?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, like if there's an issue, refund. Like if you forget to put,
because you don't want to deal with the beef with the payment processor.
We don't want to charge. Yeah, we don't want to charge back.
And you don't,
I mean,
exactly.
And again, I'm not saying this so you can just ask for refunds.
That's what it's going to be, bro. 2,000 support.
You're fucking me right now.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
nobody go do that.
Anyway, we're not. If somebody forgets to put a coupon code in, or whatever, we'll refund you. We do stuff like that. If there's an issue, we'll go back and forth a bit. If there was a real issue, we'll refund you or whatever. We'll figure it out. But I know at other firms, like I don't know, I bought a couple of things at Apex. I try to get my money back because when I used to buy 20 accounts there, coupon code, you can only buy one at a time. So
it's crazy.
Like
it takes 2 hours to buy
coupon
them.
Code, one account, coupon code, one account, right? I forgot it one time,
right.
And I hit them up, I didn't get it or whatever, or I know
but that's easy. I like that you guys do that because that's just right by the customer. He's saying he's going to come spend money with you, bro.
Yeah,
he wants the discount.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not worth, the hassle of like.
Speaking of Apex, let's go, since we're talking rule changes for a second, because I don't think we need to talk about FTT too much. Yeah. That was probably enough right there to give them, they're going to fade into the darkness of prop firms that failed. You know what I'm saying? And also this word prop firm, we'll get into that too. That's not a prop firm, bro. That is, FTT was the furthest thing from a prop firm. A prop firm, at minimum, checks so many different boxes than them. How many?
Real quick, last thing on that. They actually, I didn't say anything like, listen, not that I respected them, but I respect owners in business as a whole.
Takes risk.
So I talked with like one of their, internal guys a lot of times. So I knew like what was going on, and it doesn't help anyone for them to go down. Nobody.
No one. Hurts the industry.
You might get a little bit more sale. Maybe we have more sales now or whatever. But like as a whole, trust is lost in the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
But they couldn't get TradeZella. They didn't want to do a deal with them. They looked at.
So that says something, and then the credit card thing, right there.
They do a very big in-depth check on who they work with. At NinjaTrader, TradeZella.
Yeah. And
when they couldn't get, and the problem is they didn't even have the deal done, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming." It's like you're just leading people on.
I had guys in my Discord saying, "I just bought 20 and I'm not trading them yet until they give me the trade of 8." And it was
what they said.
And then I said to them, "I'm like, listen, I got a guy. You're the guy that's telling me this is not going to happen." And I told my guy, I was like, "Guys, someone that I think probably has good information is saying they're not getting trade of 8. You might just want to focus on other accounts right now."
Yeah, and I didn't go on social and say that.
No.
I told very few people. I knew what was going on. As soon as I got denied, they tried to buy us out. And this is like, I don't know, a month and a half.
Fast track.
Yes. Yeah. They were like, "Oh, let's try to buy you out." And I was like, I don't know what you, I was like, this is before like it got really bad there too.
Right.
And And I said, like, we're not really looking to do that at all. I didn't even get to like an offer or anything. I said, hey, maybe there's somewhere, and again, this is before like they really went to shit. But I was like, hey, maybe there's something we could work out, where like traffic comes to us from you, or so, I don't know, something like that. I had no idea what it would be. I just threw it out there, maybe. And I said, maybe we could talk about it or something like that. But I firmly said, even if we did want to sell to you, there is no, because NinjaTrader and TradeZella, they'll do their checks. They're going to see somehow that happened.
And they're not going to give you the license.
They're not even going to let you use ours. Right. So like, didn't make sense at all. And I would never do that.
Do you think he was trying to buy you to get to TradeZella?
Yeah, no, that was it.
That was it. That was the
buying
angle.
us.
It was not for your traffic or anything like that.
TradeZella.
Yeah.
And they tried to do it with another firm also.
Yeah.
I don't know if they posted about it. I think they posted about it online. So
yeah.
If you're watching this, you guys know who you are.
Right.
But yeah. So like it was a tough like thing to just see it all happening, and then like also kind of know inside a little bit. And I voiced things. Matt L at My Funded Futures, he was voicing it too.
Yep.
We were talking together about like how it's.
He's a solid guy.
Down.
He seems.
Yeah, he's very. I like Matt.
Yeah. I tried to get him on the podcast before. He kind of dodged me. So if he's listening, Matt, let's sit down, bro.
Get on, Matt. Come on, man.
If you loved our free futures course, I've got something you're going to love even more. Futures 2.0 is out now. It's only on Asfx TV. There's hundreds of chart markups, detailed trade breakdowns, and tons of tips and tricks to help you get funded and get paid out. So go to asfx.tv right now and check out Futures 2.0. He took a lot of.
We got to know that you're not AI.
He took a lot of heat when the whole Forex thing happened, and to
he owns
My Funded Futures, My Funded FX.
My Funded FX.
Yeah,
exactly.
So he took a lot of heat last year.
Yeah,
and he's still here.
And
so I give him respect
because like that was last year was also the Forex shit show.
Yeah, so I'm just saying I give him respect for fighting through that, and now still running a firm in the right way that's still paying people out correctly.
And we talk here and there. He's a good guy. I have to shout him out too. He's helped me a lot with like understanding the model before we even started.
Yeah,
and I look forward to like talking with him.
See, like there should be a committee of guys like you and him that are decent guys, right? Like we're trying to make this industry better. We want to grow our businesses. Everybody wants to make money. No shit. But we should have a committee where y'all get together and sit at a big table and like, all right, Scott, you're voted off, buddy. You're out of the committee because you're off the
round table.
Right. And it's like a round, but that's what big industries do, and being half funny, half serious, where like you and Matt should take this and go together and say, like, we're going to form a committee of prop firm owners that are going to communicate, get Patak involved in this. And then this thought is a good transition into our regulation conversation, because it's like, if we had, as the customer, if we had confidence in a committee of prop firm owners to go to the CME and band together with lawyers and get everything together to do, dude, that could be a huge confidence booster for the future of the industry. Because right now, what's the future of the industry? It's kind of up in the air to some people, right? Regulation, fast track just shut down. What's coming? What's 2025 look like? So let's get there in a second.
Yeah.
Top Step had some rule changes a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to go into it because everyone can go read that. Everybody knows, right? Like it was mainly for the live account stuff anyway.
Yeah, I can touch on that.
But also, real quick, Apex had some rule changes a couple of months ago. They completely changed their model in a lot of ways. So companies are changing. Companies are modifying their model, modifying their rules. What's Tradeify doing before we get into those changes if we want to go there? But what are you doing to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, so listen, just to touch on regulation, everyone wants to think that they know it. Everyone wants to act like they know what's going on. Nobody knows shit, right? And I even tweeted that out, I think yesterday or the other day. And, even like Michael said, and he replied to it from Top Step, he said, exactly. Like, nobody actually really knows. And for him to say that, like, you'd think he'd be in the biggest position to know. And I know, like, Daryl from Apex has said, like, they've talked with the CME, et cetera, but there's not really any clear-cut info. And until it happens, all you can do is be proactive, right, to be able to handle, maybe the points that you're hearing or the rumors of XYZ. And then, when it happens, be able to use what you've put in place proactively to be reactive, right? So I don't think it's always good to be reactive. It's always good to be proactive, but you want to be able to have the ability to do both, right?
Absolutely.
And the best thing you can do, again, is, half and half type thing. So steps for that. So we already were doing this before it was like a thing to be live anyway, but we wanted to have a clear-cut path to live, right? We want you to know that when you get to a certain payout, this is when you would be eligible for live. Now, for us, it is your fourth payout on a single account, individual accounts. That's when you're able to be moved to live.
Okay.
We have the option to move you live at any time, though. So, if we wanted to move you live after your first payout, we could. I don't see why we would, but, you never know. Maybe if it took you, an example, if it takes you, most people might take like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, straight to funded to get a payout. If they're doing a challenge and then upgrading to a funded account.
A little longer.
A little bit longer, right? Maybe a month and a half. But if you take like 2 months to just get your first payout, for instance, right? And like we look at your history and you're actually doing this like it's a real trading account and you're taking it serious, you're going to have a lot more data and I'm going to think you're much more disciplined. So that might be a reason why maybe I look at you and I say, this person had, 20 trading days in a month. This person had 35 trading days before they got their first payout. That's worth more to me than somebody who gets to their third, just doing the 10 days or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because I can see that person's disciplined. I can see their losses each day. Obviously they didn't lose the account.
Right.
They hopefully their risk to reward is good. They're doing good, consistent. But that is a reason why I don't want to say that you have to get to your fourth to be moved to live. But like we'll actually look at it and see the raw stats of, hey, this person deserves to be. And we have a quant right now. Again, we've only launched 3 months. It's crazy. We've only launched 3 months ago, and we're already up there in the top firms. Yeah. And we didn't project to be. We projected to be here maybe like March-ish. But we did a forecast of like how the business model would work and like sales and margins, et cetera, payouts, et cetera. And we're like 1% off.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like 1 to 2, I think it's like one. It might be like 1.8, so maybe 2%.
Okay.
Like off of where we thought we would be.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and again, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So to be able to accurately pinpoint where we would be.
Well, it also helps you going into next year.
Yeah, exactly. So, but and again, just to touch on that. So we have a clear path to live. It's mostly these people. Everyone thinks that there has to be some type of clear path to live and a lot more live traders. So, and we want that as a firm too. A lot of problems that other firms have too is like they have uncapped payouts, and I call them sim farmers, where you're just staying in sim, you're farming away the fake profits, like getting payouts. You milk a payout, you fail the account, you buy 10 more challenge, buy like 10 more.
Yep.
You just YOLO them all.
Yep.
When you get funded, you YOLO it again.
Yep. Account flipping.
Yeah. Sim farming.
Sim farming. I like that better.
Sim farming, bro.
Sim farming.
That's what I call it. And like,
so you think that's what's going to come to an end? That's what the CME and everybody's saying that needs to stop.
I don't even know if it's that should happen anyway at firms because it limits your risk. You don't want people sim farming.
No, because you can just take payouts on a fake account. Yeah, that's basically what you're doing.
Yeah, it correlates right back to Top Step. If you're letting people go to a live account and then still have sim accounts and funnel money into that live account without trading it, you're letting them sim farm money into the live account.
Got it.
So why should you? If someone's the end goal of every prop firm is to have traders trade live with them so they can profit off of them as well, right? That is how a prop firm works. That's how traditional prop firms work, and that should be how these prop firms work as well. So your goal is to find live traders that you can take live and be able to either copy them or do a profit share, etc. So the reason that people don't want people to be sim farmers is because, again, if you already proved yourself to be able to trade, right? You are not a benefit to the company anymore if you are simply paying $100, taking out 20K, failing whatever's left, paying $100, this is per account, something like that. So this is why I love the model that they got going over there, but it never really made sense to me because there's a lot of good people taking payouts. And granted, they are huge. And I know, pass rate they have a challenge. So you have to do the challenge first. And, at the end of the day, the raw stats are always going to be there. Only 2%, I think it's only probably like 1.5% of day traders make money.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's going to be the same thing with prop firms. Yeah. It's actually might even be harder because you have some extra additional rules in place. The rules are there to help you.
Yeah.
They are there to give you
and also to help you. Like you said, when you see someone follow those rules, they can meet the 20% consistency. You feel more confident to put that guy in live potentially when that comes.
Exactly. So those are in place to help you. And I think a lot of people also forget that at a prop firm, you're basically paying money to be able to 5 to 10x your money in a payout.
It's a crazy opportunity.
Risk to reward's insane. Even if it takes you 2 tries, right? 3 tries, 4 tries, you're break even on the first one.
Right.
If you are able to get the second one, even more.
100%.
You're looking at if you're paying, let's just say you're paying like $250, right?
Yep.
And you're able to get a, well, let's just use one of our plans is like $300.
Yeah.
You're able to get a $2,000 payout.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, you're looking at it's a little bit more than 300. I'm not going to quote exactly, but you're looking to get, at that point, like a little bit over a 6x return.
Yeah.
Right. Where can you make six times your money? Like I used to trade options. I still trade options sometimes, but it's tough to do that trading options unless you're going, balls to the wall type thing, right?
Right.
You can actually trade consistently, do things right, and 6 times your money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is a great model. Right?
It is.
Prop firms are there to level up those who are serious and consistent, because you have to be serious, you have to be consistent if you want to be profitable with prop firms.
Absolutely. So what does it look like going into a live account with you guys? Because let's talk about me. I took a $1,500 payout on a $50K account, and then I lost the account. If I hadn't lost that account and I took those other 3 payouts and I got to the 4 payouts, you're now going to look at what? Other than my stats, are you looking at my balance and then carrying over that balance? How do I determine my starting balance in live?
Yeah, so for us, it's always going to be whichever is the smaller amount of either your current balance over the starting amount or 10% of the account. So an example, I'll give 2 examples.
Yeah.
Let's say you have $53,000 in the account after your payout. So I'll use the same example. You took a $1,500 payout. Let's say you had $54,500 in the account. You took your $1,500 payout. You have $53,000 left. So if we decide to move you to live, you'll be moved to live with $3,000.
Yep. Yeah.
If you had $56,000, $57,000,
Take 1,500 out.
we would take 1,500 out.
So now we're down.
Sorry, let's say you had 60,000. Let's just say for some reason you had 10,000.
Made 10 grand.
You take it out. You have 8,500.
Yep.
The max you can do is 10% of the starting balance, so 5,000.
So 5,000 would be the starting
per
live.
account.
Per account would be the starting live.
So the max that anyone can be moved currently with our current plans, if you have a 150K account, if you have 7 of them, 15K, the max you would be moved to live with if you did all of them at the same time, $105,000 of live capital.
Got it.
And that's plenty. And we'll still work with you, in the situation where you're moved, let's just say with 100,000 or 80,000. How it works on TradeZella specifically, for every one contract, for every $1,000, you can trade 1 contract of NQ. That's the normal margins if you fund your own account.
Okay.
We're not going to let you, if you have 80K, we're not going to let you just put 80 contracts.
80 minis on it. Right.
You can instantly, you can pretty much blow the account
Absolutely,
in
bro.
one candle type thing.
Absolutely.
You'll hit margin, you'll hit like your margin requirements, and they close you. I think at TradeZella, for instance, like if you, let's say I put 80 contracts on, I got 80K. When you lose like half of it, they liquidate you.
Right.
And then you get an alert like, hey,
Margin
you don't
call.
have the margin amount for this. So I think it's like 50% or so, 40%.
But what you're saying is you don't want to be in that position
exactly.
anyway.
So we're gonna put some limits on you, et cetera, and we'll work with you to scale them up and different things. But you're gonna be paired with a risk manager, either one of the founders from the team, because we've all traded. By the way, sorry, I forgot to touch on this in the beginning, guys. I have 2 founders with me that they helped me build up Simba stock. So I've known these 2 guys since 2017.
Nice.
They're like they're.
That's like me with my 2 guys, bro.
They're great.
Same thing.
It's
we
learned trading together.
That's awesome.
We learned these businesses together. We learned everything in the space together.
That's awesome.
So it's awesome to be able to finally build something together from the start, rather than me meeting them and hiring them kind of as employees.
Of course,
we're working together.
No, bro, that's the best. Ground up. Homegrown.
Yep.
That's the best.
So anyway, we all understand trading. We all completely get it. We've invested for years.
So you guys are going to be the first risk managers with these live accounts, because you don't have anybody in live, correct? Yet?
No, we don't have anyone live.
I know you said Brian. Shout out. We got to give Brian a shout out.
Brian Stonks.
He's making jokes, bro. He's saying everybody thinks on the internet he's 14.
I know. I saw
He's
it.
so funny.
It's
want
funny.
him to come on the show. Brian, you're not far from me,
he's
bro.
got it.
He's over in my side of Florida, I think. He's over near
really?
Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do we should do like a
When
TradeZella
he's
round
live,
table.
yes, bro, we'll come back and do it over there. We can have him sit down.
Would love to have you, man.
Come on, Brian. So if Brian gets the call up to live, he'll have a risk manager, one of you guys, one of the founders that can talk with him and communicate with him. Then let's get to this point, because this is what's going to be all over Twitter next week and going into the new year. Why do I want to trade a live account with you when I can trade my own live money?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So the risk manager, and we also have a quant on the team, they'll be able to analyze.
Every time somebody says that, I see that scene in The Big Short. See, this guy, he doesn't even speak English. And then it cuts and he's like, my name's Brian.
So a risk manager is going to be someone who's, traded a while. They can analyze the trades and give you like some insight because they've been trading, et cetera. When you have a quant, obviously they'll be more like data driven and like actually give you the stats. Now our quant has worked with a couple of actual like hedge funds or like smaller hedge funds. I don't, if they worked with a big hedge fund, I'd love to have them, but I don't think we could have
Is the
them.
quant Asian?
No.
Then I can't trust him.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
But he is overseas. And he is dedicated to working with a lot of trading profiles as well as, helping build models.
Cool.
Now, again, the reason that I can't like elaborate more on it is because we've only been in business 3 months. That's not enough data, really. No. He expects like by the end of the year, because we're going on our 4th, 5th month.
Right, so you have 6 months of data.
So we'll have like, 4 or 5, 6 months. He can give some, raw info, but like you really need some good data in order to do that. We made a couple changes. You
can't judge a trader on one day.
Exactly.
Can't judge this business in 1 week.
Exactly. Yes. So, as we change things, he'll be able to be a little bit more, thorough. Yeah. And in his analysis and, info that he's giving to the traders who we have. But
will he be specific to your live traders only?
Right now, yes. We have something in the works that maybe, there might be something where he'll be able to analyze your trades or give you some info, maybe like an add-on or something like that if you want access to him.
Yeah.
But, we have, I don't want to say like definitely.
So like that right there, that's what reminds me of the old school prop model. Because the old school prop model, like when I worked at T3, they bring you in and they educate you. They give you the tools and the support to be a good trader. Mm-hmm. And then over time, you get more size, you make more money with them. That's what that is right there. Not, hey, go find your own quant and figure out your own stats for yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, the risk manager and the quant, they'll be there for you. That's one perk. And a couple, other firms have that. So I don't want to like highlight that too much because, a couple other firms have like risk managers that you'll be able to talk with. And some people look at them as, a knife in the back, and other people look at them as a savior, the angel. Right. So, it just depends on what type of trader. If you ever look at them like they're trying to hurt you, you're probably
trying to hurt them. You're malicious.
Yeah, you're probably trying to hurt the business or hurt yourself.
And they caught you, and they need to be. They're trying to get on top of it.
Exactly. Yep. So, I think it's important that you listen to them and you talk through it and you figure out what weaknesses you have, which strengths, what you can do better. So that quick. Leads into tools. Touching on what you said, why would you want to come live with us? Yeah. I have about 5 ideas. 2 of them I can say now. 3 that I won't say yet.
For part 3, we'll save that for part 3.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll save it for you, Brian. You can tell them how it worked out for you when you come on. But anyway, one of them being, again, the goal of a prop firm, we said before, is to be able to copy traders or make money off of them as well, right? So there is no reason why, if you're a profitable trader, if you're trading a live account and you make, let's say you make $10,000, you take it. Let's say you make more, whatever, but you take a $10,000 payout. Okay. The profit split is 90-10. Yep. Assuming that you already took out $15,000 with us, which you probably did if you're live. Yep. So in that scenario, you'd get $9,000. We would take our $1,000 cut. We have different ideas in place where you'd actually keep 100% of that. And if we're copying you, if we were copying you and you made 10,000, right? If we're copying you 1-to-1, we also made 10,000. If we're copying you with, let's say, 5 micros to a mini or 50%, whatever that might be. If you do 2, we do 1. We made 5,000. We're willing to give you some of the profit that we made. As well.
So that right there would be a huge benefit to trading with a prop firm rather than trading on your own.
Exactly. You're actually getting a withdrawal bonus. So if you withdrew, let's say, again, these aren't set in stone parameters.
We're talking hypothetical ideas. Right. This is the evolution of the industry.
We definitely will do this in some way, shape, or form. Sure. So I'll say that for sure. But it will be, if you made 10K and then we copied you and made 10K, maybe when you do your withdrawal of your 10,000, not only do we give you the full 100% instead of 90-10, but now we give you a 10-15% bonus. So when you withdraw 10, you're actually getting 11 or 11.5, 12. Exactly.
And then if you take out 100, you send me a Lambo with the Tradeify logo on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe we'll just, we just won't send you the money. We'll double it.
So it's got to be like it's got to be like competitive in comparison to the traditional brokerage model. So what are you going to get here? You're going to get the quant. You're going to get the bonuses. You're going to get more insight. Where if you go trade at a traditional brokerage, unless you know somebody, you're another cog in the machine. And then go back to the stat you just gave. How many people fund a brokerage account and lose? like 98%.
98%, yeah,
Yes.
probably more.
I got to give one of my guys, James, a shout out. He has a broker in South Africa that has told him he is one of the only people in the entire country of South Africa that has a more than 1 year profitable track record with them.
Wow.
So think about the entire country
Yeah.
of South Africa. And there's not a lot of like, so imagine in America how many people fail and how few actually do it, right?
And I'm in
Global.
multiple countries. Global.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So it's
Not
most
just
people
limited.
failing. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think people are going to be like, this is the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They're going to be like, oh, prop firms are going under. I'm going to go trade my own money. Well, okay, buddy, you're going to go and fund a traditional brokerage account like you and me did and probably lose $5,000, $10,000 off the jump, right? And that would have been the same money you would have lost if you went with a prop firm. So then you got to still look at the reward, not just the risk, because the reward is where the difference is going to be made. The risk is the same. Whether you fund a brokerage on your own and lose, or you fund prop firms and you lose challenges, it's still, that's the risk. Your risk is just lower. That's what you're going to say, right? The dollar risk. You can spend, dude, to spend $10,000 in combines, you're probably going to pass a couple, probably going to get some payouts, right? But if you just put 10K into a brokerage, I've had so many people come to me and say, it's gone. It's gone.
Like, look at it like this. If you're trading a 150K account, right, you get
7,500 a drawdown.
Exactly. 70. That's what I was about to say. 7,500.
I know your rules better than you.
Yeah, you're just
Star affiliate.
You know what? You want to talk? Do the rest?
I got it.
All right. I'll ask the questions if you want.
Okay.
Nah. So 7,500, right? So what would you need to have 7,500 drawdown? 7,500, right? Well, probably a little bit more.
Right. So you're spending
futures.
600 something with you versus 7,500 of your own money.
Right. Well, less with the sales.
Even less.
With Asfx.
Asfx discount code. Sure. Got to give
Right
that
now,
a shout
40%.
Yeah.
Maybe even more coming up. What are we in?
Yeah, this will be out for Black Friday.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe more. We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, 400 something bucks or 500, 300, whatever it is at the time, to get that 7,500 drawdown, right? And you multiply that by how many accounts you have, and that's a great way to look at things. You're buying drawdown.
That's exactly it. You're not buying a 150K account.
No, you're not. And the reason that it's pitched like that is just because it makes it easier to look at when you're doing the raw numbers,
of course.
as well as just margin requirements, etc. But got lost. What were we talking about right before that?
You just made me think of a question real quick. Speaking of that, it's on the list. Are more people getting payouts from 50, 100, or 150 straight to stim?
Yeah, so that's what we're analyzing right now. I don't want to...
Because you guys made it confusing. Your pricing is so competitively close. You're like, well, if I'm going to buy the 50K, I'll just buy the 100. I'll get more drawdown.
Right.
But then everybody knows it's a lot harder to make that target. You have to trade bigger, be comfortable with bigger fluctuations in your P&L, and that's what throws off new traders. You're teaching a guy to make 200 a day. Now he needs to make 750 a day. He's going to go off tilt probably a couple times.
So typically, and this is at all firms, the smaller accounts are the easiest.
But is it because there's more volume of them being purchased too? Like by volume? Like if
that's what I don't. That's
where we need the quant.
Yeah, that's where we need the quant. And like, I mean, I have like somewhat raw stats, but like we just did a rule change a little bit now. Instead of 5% profit target for a payout, you need 6.
Yep.
So that'll change it drastically.
100%.
So I think by like the end of Q1, again, we'll have that full 6 months behind us, 7 months at that point, I think.
Yep.
So maybe then we could talk more shop about data and analytics. I just feel like we don't have enough right now to be able to say
which one. Yeah, because if you say something
it
right
might change in a month, and
people might go buy that one more than the other one. So it's better to speak for certain than to guess.
But I will, as a whole, I think always the smaller accounts
easier.
is easier.
Yeah, I agree.
To do.
But greater risk, greater reward.
Right. And we just launched a 25K.
Yeah. So what's the thought on that? Why go lower?
So we went lower. So I was talking shit before about Fiasco over there with their 25K.
Right.
We made ours. We just made it. It's not $80 by any means. It's still like $200 something after the sale.
Yep.
We just wanted an easier barrier to entry for some people. That 300 price target, price
depends
tag,
on where you live, bro. That can be expensive.
Yeah, that 300 price tag to go funded is expensive. So, and when you're at other firms, after the activation fee and everything, you're paying 100 something.
It's easy. I mean,
and you have to pass a challenge.
So
if you can just pay a little bit under double or just double of it instead of triple, right?
You avoid the challenge.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's how we formatted it. We also got rid of it's a 25K. It's a $1,000 max loss limit, $1,500 target, no daily loss. If I put a daily loss, that's pretty tight. This is for someone not that you shouldn't have a daily loss still.
Agreed,
right?
but $1,000 this a guy that buys a 25K is going to trade 1 or 2 micros.
Yeah, hopefully.
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 I mean, because
you know there's going to be people doing...
Of course, bro.
So we actually limit it to, it's only 1 mini or 10, the equivalent.
Okay, that's good.
So 1 to 10 scaling, 1 mini or 10
I mean,
micros.
I can make or lose $1,000 on a mini, though, in one trade.
Dude, the market's crazy. Yeah, that's what I was about to say, too. Like, lately, there's just these massive candles. There's like 40, 50-point candles, like in a 1-minute candle. There's 100-point candles sometimes.
Speaking of that, I had my fastest trade of the year on Monday. In and out within 45 seconds, which is fast for me. Yeah. So you'll get volatility right now. I mean, it's Trump, it's the administration, it's the time of year too.
Yeah.
So
end of year is always just volatile. But,
exactly.
But yeah, so like, you don't need more than that. You really don't.
But the 25K is good because it is a good introductory level for people. Like I always think of my friends in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and other countries where $300 is, I mean, for us in America, that's like you step out of your door and you take a breath of fresh air, you spend $100 nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. But I think especially as you want to open to a wider audience, it's a really good model.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, we have plans to do a swing account as well.
Right, so talk to me about that because you mentioned that on the phone. So what is that going to look like?
Don't want to say yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us something. Anything? Can you give us anything? Swing account is coming in 2025, so you can swing overnight, everybody.
It's going to be, I think, a 25K.
A 25K,
account.
small.
Yeah, so we're going to start small. It's going to be the 25K account we have right now, too, is still a beta model.
Right, you even tweeted, you were like, this might not be here for long.
Yeah, we just want to test it.
Because you got to look at your risk reward. That's what everyone should be learning from you. It's like you're always looking at this. Like, okay, I'll offer you a swing trading account.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep it at a smaller number. I'm not going to give you 150K to swing trade with until we see our numbers.
Yeah, it might be like only 5 micros type thing. Right. I don't know.
Because you got to learn to deal with the overnight. What is the overnight going to do to you guys? What are the costs? Like, how does that build into the trader? How does that pass through? So there's still questions.
Exactly, and and it's tough to say exactly what that would look like, with the given market, especially going into the end of the year where it's super volatile. Yeah. Also, like, it's almost like, do you want to even swing? Because like, if you have like consistency in there, or if you have, you could be up, you just if you're swinging overnight, especially over the weekend, you're either going to lose your account or make a shitload of money.
And then you have to make more to meet the consistency rule.
Exactly. So it's, it's almost like, do you want to do it or not? I don't know. So we're thinking about, again, I look at every single thing from a trader's perspective too, because again, I was on the other side of firms. I promoted, 3-4 firms for a year pretty much before I launched this. And I got so much data from that too. I could see how much I was selling just for my personal brand. Yep. I could see like what product everybody was buying. Yep. So I'm not going to lie. Thanks to all you guys out there who I promoted for, I got the data from you guys too. So, I was able to use that to kind of understand how we should do ours and what we should pitch and sell. But again, I can't touch too much on it. We have to think about it a little bit more.
Part 3.
Yeah.
We'll do Brian, first live trader, swing trading account. What do we want to say about payout speed? That was another question that came through. How do you continue to make payouts quickly? Like you guys have been really big about like on payout day, you're like tweeting about it all day, you're live on about it. Like you guys go kind of like all out during the payout windows. So my question is, how do you maintain that as you get more popular? And then do you ever open up the Top Step style payouts where you can take payouts all the time?
Yeah, so the windows, so we did payout windows because that's another reason that we waited to launch. Our systems, for the most part, like I'd say like 80%, 85% automated. Like everything comes through from the time you request. We only have to click like one thing.
Wow.
And we can automate it too if we wanted to. But in the beginning, while we're collecting
data, you want to see the money going out.
Yeah, while we're testing everything, we want to make sure that the system works and we get through a bunch of windows that we have. We're looking at possibly adding a third window. And we want people to almost treat it like a business, right? Because if you're able to, the only way you succeed in trading is if you're able to be a robot or treat it like a business, right? If you treat it like it's a game or, fun, and it can be fun, of course, but like we all know that.
Can't treat it like a hobby.
Exactly, yeah. You take it serious. So the payout windows almost help you because it's almost like you're getting paid bi-weekly. And, I don't want to say that it's a guarantee. It's almost like you're working for a commission job, and that's kind of what trading is, right? Mm-hmm. You get paid when you do good. Mm-hmm. Internally, we like that as well because we know, okay, these days are the days that we're going to have to work through this. We know like this is when we're going to have payouts, and it just makes the whole system work much better.
Absolutely.
I will say that.
I understand that because like imagine if you're trying to do payouts overnight because you have guys in Asia that want to pay. It's nonstop. It's just crazy.
You'll need someone.
You need a bigger team.
Exactly. And we have no problem hiring, but it goes back to what I said before. I want to be the undercover boss. I want to be able to understand how the system works when we get people in, et cetera, et cetera. So I think if we maybe add that third payout window, it would basically look like every 8 days or so, something like that anyway, because it's already like right now to
be honest,
it's like right now it's every 11 days.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what I'm saying. It's
so
really
it's like-
not that big of a
it's
deal.
really not.
No one that I've talked to is ever like, oh, you can only take payouts twice a month. That's never a con.
And it almost disciplines you more
It does.
because
Either you stop trading the account you made money
Exactly.
on and you go do something else.
exactly
Right.
or get another one.
That's what I'm saying. Get another
If you
account.
know
It's locked.
if you know the payout is locked in, and again, I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but if you did well and you think you can do it again, why not just get a new one and trade that
Start
one?
overlapping.
Do not trade.
Yeah.
Do not trade or go to for all I care, go to another firm and
right.
just wait.
Exactly.
I don't have a problem saying that. Again, I was a trader.
Because
That's what I would
everybody
do.
trades with multiple firms.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Let's go to the legal stuff. So this was a question from one of the guys that I work with really closely. He said, because the industry is so new and having a legal team that is keeping up with all the potential regulations and gray areas is really important. What are you guys doing to kind of stay ahead of that curve?
Yeah, so we hired a legal team. We already had like lawyers and attorneys we consulted, but we hired a full-on legal team to take a look at our whole model. Because again, excuse me, again, we are new. We had to adapt. We changed a couple different things. So, we didn't want to hire someone to do like a full in-depth look until we had, our I's dotted, T's crossed across the board for the website, help center, legal disclosures, etc. So we hired them about a month ago now, and we're about to hear back, on all their recommendations of things we should do.
That's
and
great.
they've worked with a couple other props as well. So, we're in
It's like an audit, like an internal.
Exactly.
You paid for like an internal
Yeah,
audit.
that's what it is. Perfect word.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping to have all of that in the next week or two. So
That's
that
great.
way by 2025,
And do
we
the
can implement
lawyers,
those changes.
like that you've worked with, are they CME experience, prop firm experience?
Yes. So they've worked with like different financial cases,
Nice.
like different firms.
That's important. You got to know the law, and you have to know how other cases
Exactly.
have been resolved to know.
Yeah, and the price tag comes with that, of course. So,
Oh, yeah, bro. My dad was an attorney, so I know all about that.
We hope to have some changes. And again, this won't be like dramatic things. It might just be like the way we say things on the site, stuff like that. You never know. But to be a little bit more, compliant and able to maneuver anything that might come up. And that leads into being proactive before you're reactive, right? Or the ability to have things in place proactively that allow you to react when they come.
Yeah. And one of the questions that somebody sent it was, about being proactive and having a robust control framework. You kind of answered that right there too. It's like, it's not just the legal team. It's having solid employees. It's having people you can trust close to you. So I feel like that's something that, like there's bigger companies like TopStep that have a ton of employees, but it's like when you stretch like that, in my opinion, gaps sometimes pop up and then you need to fill those gaps.
Right.
So I actually like that you guys are going slow and you'd rather be methodical rather than us be sitting here being like, yeah, man, you guys grew so fast. You made a lot of mistakes. What did you learn? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's much the opposite of that conversation.
Yeah. So I look at it like you're pushing a snowball down the hill, right? When you're pushing it and it's rolling, it's getting bigger and bigger. It's
Compounds.
harder. It's harder to maintain though.
Yes.
It's harder if you're just pushing it like this. If you hit a little rock, it might swerve to the left. You can't hold it in place anymore, right? So as it's growing, you need to have additional people to back you up, and you need to have additional things in place. It might be a little AI robot, whatever it is, right? Coming in, holding the right side of the snowball as it's getting bigger. Someone holding the left, right? So it's things like that, or the garden example too. When you have a bigger garden, you got to maintain the weeds. You got to put the, whatever analogy you want to use. It's the same thing, right? So I think we're in a good spot where we're growing like that, and it helps me to push the snowball alone, like I said, or my team, to understand. This is what happens when you hit that rock, or this is what happens when this bug comes to your garden, or
100%.
whatever, weeds, all that, right?
Yeah.
So that way, when we hire people to do it, we understand what their concern is or what issues they might have, and we can better, train them and help them to face them.
100%. I think people would want to know and hear your answer to the question of, why are you doing this? Are you doing this to make money and make your family wealthy and that's it? Or are you doing it for that and for benefit of the community? Like, what is your why in doing this? Because you have other businesses that I'd like to talk about a little bit too that you're starting, but why Tradeify specifically? Like, what is motivating you to keep doing this? Because you could have done something else that would have made you probably the same, if not more money with less headache.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. There's definitely, it's definitely a great business, and it's awesome to run. It comes with headaches, like this week and different things. You got a lot of people coming at you all the time, and that's any business. If you got a lot of haters, you're probably doing well, right? For the most part, unless you're, the other guys that we had. Too many haters.
Too many haters. There's a threshold.
Yeah. So there's definitely a threshold. But yeah, to your point, I just loved the ability to trade when I first discovered it, and that you can literally like work on your own time when you want and make as much as you, obviously there's a limit to what you can make in the beginning, but like, you know, you can make what you want, when you want, work when you want, how you want, where you want, right? All of those. And prop firms give you the ability to do that, right? At a lower cost to entry.
Yeah.
Because that is the number one thing holding a lot of people back. It's not only understanding and learning how to do these skills and how to navigate the markets, but having the funds to do it.
Absolutely.
So I just loved the model when I first started trading firms, 2017, 18. And I wanted to be the one that's backing and helping traders, or be able to have an end goal of having, either a corp above TradeZella that owns it, or a subsidiary under it that actually is a hedge fund, right? Having that. And I will say, like, Scott over there, he had a cool goal, which is the first retail hedge fund, he would always say. So I will say, and again, he always dripped those things to make people like want to come in and like attract them.
Yeah, to keep
but
them
it is an awesome goal. And that is a goal that I think a lot of these firms kind of have or should have. So, again, it's to be able to have the community of traders, and still be involved in markets at any time. It's for me to be able to run a business and, obviously make money and do well. But it's also to be able to give others the ability to, if they're taking it serious, be able to multiply, their money essentially, right? Get those 2, 3, 4x, 5x rewards that you're getting
with lower risk.
With a lower risk,
yeah,
exactly.
Especially because like right now, bro. Yeah, Trump won and the economy hopefully will do well. But people up until a couple of weeks ago, everyone was very pessimistic about the outlook of economy and people spending money.
Right.
Consumer credit cards are up. Student loans are still in the picture. So yeah, I think this is a new model that is offering people that opportunity.
Yeah, and it's really at this point like common, right? Like there's so many firms.
Oh yeah,
it's only going to grow.
Well, I think the thing is that it's new but different, but also still the same as the old model. So this was going to be my thing I wanted to say to you and to any prop firm owner listening. I think as whatever, like you said, I agree. No one knows what regulation is coming. Like Peter Brandt, we talked about, he's been going crazy on Twitter. We love you, Peter, but don't have a heart attack.
We don't love you too much.
Yeah, not too much. But he speaks, he did say in one of his tweets where he was like, no one, this is just my speculation, but he created a lot of FUD.
Well, before you even say, he's said a lot of shit first, and then now he starts saying speculation.
Yes.
It's like before you didn't say it was speculation.
True. But everything out of everybody's mouth is always speculation, in my opinion. I think that there's a gap here. So you take this hopefully into the team and think about it. If there is regulation, they come in and start scrutinizing everybody. I think what none of the firms, including you guys, are doing is education. Mm-hmm. That's the separating factor, and one of the separating factors between the old school prop firm and the new school. Old school, they brought you in, they taught you SMB capital.
Yep.
So now TradeZella needs an education platform.
Already coming.
There you go. See, I didn't even know.
Already
that.
coming.
So that's something that's going to make firms actually look like they care about teaching people how to trade,
right?
Not just sucking their money in this online casino thing.
So in the next 30 to 45 days, we're going to be implementing an entire journaling platform. So anybody who is a trader with us, they'll be able to journal their trades, get insights on their trades, similar to other journal platforms that you see out there, but a fully in-depth tool for all traders to use. And it'll track your individual accounts, account by account, or you can summarize them or sum them up into all accounts.
That's awesome.
Yep. And that'll come for free for everyone who is a trader, who has an active account with us.
Yeah.
So that'll give you insights into everything, and we only hope to improve that and have it give more insight.
But maybe even a guy that does webinars once a month, or there's a video course that's like, hey, this is basic technical analysis. Yeah. I think FTMO might have done that back in the day.
When we first launched TradeZella, I had a technical analysis course. I believe I gave it out to like everyone who joined it first.
Really?
And we're looking at building like a Futures 101 type thing, and my partner and I, we've sold many and included with like Simba stocks, etc., a bunch of courses. He has traded a long time. He did a long-term investing and analysis guide, more like fundamentals.
Cool.
And I did kind of the technicals. Mm-hmm. I also had another moderator who did back at Simba stocks, who did a full technical analysis course as well. I have like a free Futures 101 course that
it's the same name as mine
I probably
too.
Should just put
Mine's
it on.
Futures 101 as well. It's
free.
free.
Yeah,
same thing.
It's great.
It's an easy name.
Yeah,
it's an easy way to get people in the door. But I think that's a good area for prop firms to be thinking about. Is like, let's make sure we look like we care about the traders.
And you understand I will say, like, it's easy to get lured into the business, right? But when you first sign on to, you know, TradeZella, you might think it's a different language, right?
Absolutely.
You don't understand what's
Especially
going on.
TradeZella, bro.
So exactly, yeah. Anybody, any
well, I mean,
broker,
look
really.
at TopStepX. Like, their trade copying is so much better than TradeZella.
Right. But even just when you first log into TopStepX, there's a lot going on.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, anywhere.
You can't
there's a lot
measure your
going
risk
on.
reward correctly on TopStepX
exactly.
and know where your stop loss.
Speaking of like TopStepX and platforms, we have 2 other platforms coming. So we'll have
nice.
We'll have Project X coming as well as DX Feed, which
so
is Project X
is TopStepX, but it's the white label.
They're about to have like 6-7 platforms.
Yeah,
as well.
There's a couple of firms that
people
have them
now.
Nice.
But yeah, we will have those.
All right, so you already took
in
that
the
from
new
me.
year.
That education thing is coming. That's great.
That's coming. We hope to do like a Tradeify TV type thing. We
Nice.
don't want to do all day. I think something that's a little, you know, odd is like, you know, we don't want people on there all day because that almost makes you encourage you to stay at the computer all day. So like we would do maybe an hour or 2 hours in the morning, an hour or 2 in the afternoon.
Yep.
Bring traders on like yourself, Brian, anyone, you know, some people that we've, you know, seen internally just to talk about the market.
Yeah.
I don't think we want anybody like copying trades, doing anything like that. You know,
let me say something on that. Not only is it bad to keep people on the stream all day because it incentivizes them to trade and lose money, but also to do silly little games on the stream is not professional.
Yeah.
I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying my opinion. The reversal challenge, it's a little bit silly. Like just whatever direction you were going to trade, just go the opposite way. That's not helping anyone make more money.
Yeah.
That's not making us look like prop firms care about the traders.
Right.
That looks like entertainment.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like education.
Right.
Like when I run my streams for Asfx TV, it's 2 hours a day, maybe 2.5 hours a day.
Yeah, that's
good.
it.
Yes.
And you know, you don't expect everyone to be there for the whole 2 hours, 2.5. It's touching on people who join a half hour late, an hour late, right? So that 2 hour sweet spot is usually good. And I see the benefits of going all day. There might be somebody who can go on at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., different times, but they can always just watch it later. As long as it's uploaded there, they don't have to watch it live, right?
Exactly.
And if it's not live, they can actually absorb the information better because they're not worried about their account at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's definitely tweaks to it and different things.
Just if you guys start a house account, don't just follow random traders' trades.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get roasted on Twitter like everyone's roasting TopStep.
We won't be. I don't even think, again, I don't want to say exactly what we're going to do, but even if we did something like that, it would more so be like a look into it from the past. Like, why do it live? Like, you know, we could trade the house account or an account we have, and it could even be public on our site.
Exactly, and have like you and the guys that founded the company run it, and then be like, these are what we're doing, and then teach off of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say is, you know, I don't think we'd be scalping for the most part. It would mostly be a swing account, so it kind of goes against the prop
But then you
firm
could have that
model.
guy come in and do some fundamentals. You could mix stuff in.
Exactly. So that's what I was about to say. So we are like swing traders for the most part, and we're like longer term time frame traders. And this isn't to say that I don't trade the short time frames. Everybody who's watched me on YouTube trade live, I did it for months. I was just on the like
1 minute
5
chart,
minute,
5
like
minute.
1 minute,
Yep.
you know, 15 minute.
Yeah.
But you know, holding trades longer is much easier. It's easier to identify those stronger levels on a higher time frame. But it's the same thing, right? It's really the same thing. Candlesticks or candlestick, whether you're on the 15 minute, the 4 hour, the 1 day,
Time
right?
frame just depends on how long you're going to hold it.
Exactly. Time frame depends on how you're going to hold it. And, you know, I think we could both agree the higher time frames definitely hold more validity to them, right? But at the end of the day, they are the same thing, right? Same shit, different toilet.
Well said. Love that. All right, let me make sure we hit all these questions, bro. This has been good. How long have we been going, guys? 30 more we got? Cool. Let's do our rapid fire, I think, to finish. And everybody, if you've listened all the way through, make sure you hit the comments down below. We'll make sure there's a link to Tradeify with a good discount code, like Brett said. That's all going to be below. But hit the comments below on what you guys are thinking. Do you like what Brett's saying? And also, Brett is really good about engaging with the audience. So if you say an idea, he's going to see it in the comments, and he might like it and modify it or take it. So, like, this is why we're doing this. We want the community to come together. We're trying to keep the industry strong. We are not trying to nitpick at certain firms and make this look bad. We want everyone to have this opportunity. We don't want this opportunity taken. You know?
Yeah, and we said together before this even, we wanted to do a live, what is it called? Live broadcast or live launch?
Stream?
Live premiere.
Oh,
we
premiere.
wanted to do a live premiere of this. So, you know, I'll be in there. I'll answer your questions like as we go on if I'm going to answer.
What are we going to do?
later.
Are we going to do a giveaway for that, I think?
Yeah, of course.
Because you said
We'll do
straight to
some
funded.
giveaways.
So if you're watching this live on YouTube, you might be getting a free account for just being here.
multiple giveaways.
Multiple giveaways.
Also, a couple people whose questions we picked before this, I will be giving you guys an account away. I said I would do that too.
Love that.
But yeah, just to wrap up to what we were just discussing about, you know, things we have coming. Also into the end of the year, we're going to have crypto payments, Plaid, as well.
What a great time at 100K Bitcoin.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to pay your crypto or not.
That's
you
what I'm
hold
saying.
It.
Everybody's all, I don't want to give you my Doge now.
Yeah. But hey, a lot of people are making a lot off it. They want to spend it, whatever, tax purposes, different things. They'd rather spend crypto than dollars.
Absolutely.
Or, that's a way of them taking profit almost.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I had to ask you, why 7 accounts? Why the number 7? Is it your lucky number? Like, what's the deal?
No, not really. Just,
and this is for the copy trading, everybody. You can copy trade with 7 accounts with TradeZella.
Yeah. So just to speak on copying accounts, we saw a lot of firms had 3. Some of them had different rules around payouts, et cetera. So we thought 5 would be a pretty good sweet spot. We saw some firms have 5 before as well. Some that had like 10 or 20, they always went back down to like 10 or 5 or 7. We ran it at 5 for a while. We liked it. We thought it was fine. We upped it to 7. To be honest, not many people are doing like 7 at a time anyway.
No.
So, there's always the possibility in the future we, analyze it, go up or down.
Yeah.
If let's say we didn't even decide to go, I like to be very transparent. Some people probably are like, oh shit, he's going to go back down. Why? They're not liquid right now. Like, no, it's just because it doesn't make sense if most people are only buying, 4 or 5 at a time. Right. We'd rather just keep that, same stat in there and the consistency. So, that doesn't mean if you have 7 that if we change it, you're going to lose those 2.
You'd be grandfathered.
Yeah, you'd be grandfathered
absolutely.
in all that. But
okay.
But yeah,
good answer on the 7.
Just again, you have to cap your risk, and 5 was fine. 7 seems like it's still a very good sweet spot.
Absolutely,
no issues.
And then you'd rather go to 7 than to 10 and have to go back quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I made a big announcement. When we were doing it, was like, oh, we're increasing from 5 accounts. Everybody's like 10.
10, 15.
Yeah, because
like 7.
Exactly. Like Fast Track was around then, and everyone's like, oh, 20 accounts, like
right.
10
it's
accounts.
It's coming.
Injecting hopium into them. Like,
but then you're like, no, actually, we're going to do the conservative thing. That doesn't put us out of business.
And everyone like started to troll us, and they're like, oh, you only did 2? What the fuck? And I'm like, oh,
good, troll it.
Like,
people are still going to buy.
Whatever, man. Like, I'm trying to stay like reliable and consistent for the long term. I'm not trying to make a quick buck like others. So
you think you'll sell TradeZella?
No.
I
mean, we might sell part of it,
sure.
get someone in and like de-risk a little,
absolutely.
not de-risk, but like
take in more capital, maybe to do other stuff.
Do other stuff, or just, want to just
split ownership, maybe start the fund.
Split ownership, get someone in who's a partner.
But you want to keep it?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's awesome. I think that, again, there is going to be a path where there is, this just turns into a traditional firm or something like that.
Yeah.
It might be changed and phased into something else. And again, it's not to say that you're going to lose what you have now. Everything
100%.
will always be grandfathered with us. For the most part, I don't think there's anything that I can say about that.
Yeah.
Unless legal, or regulation comes and we have to change something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't plan to.
And I think the thing about the regulation that everybody has to understand is normally when these regulations come and they think a company is operating outside the lines, they send them Wells agreements, they send them, cease and desist letters. You're going to get information of like, hey, we don't like the way you're operating. You need to modify X, Y, and Z. It's not going to just be a rug pull. The CME is not going to be able to rug pull a business that's operating legitimately. Like FTT shut down on their own. They became insolvent and filed for bankruptcy, correct?
Right.
So it's like, as long as you're someone like yourself, and I would even say Michael and Matt, the guys we complimented, like the guys that are trying to stay ahead of this and keep their firm in business, the firm ain't going anywhere. We're going to just adapt. The rules may change. Like you said, this could look like a traditional firm in the future. So that's what I think everybody's going to want to really hear from this. And I hope that we got that. I think we did get that message across really well. So let's do our rapid fire to finish.
All right, let's do it.
Did we miss anything? Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Let me just look. Cut this part.
No. That's why I think people like when I don't make it super formal. Like they like when it's like this and we're just normal people. When you cut everything nowadays, like we were saying before, you want it to be authentic. Like I want this to feel like a Joe Rogan podcast where it's like you might hear me lighting a cigar. Like I was just listening to him on the plane, and it's like that's just so real. So it's like you buy into it so much more.
100%. I mean, I think
good on the questions.
Yeah, I think we hit everything. I mean, the only other thing, like next week we have, it's already going to be out, so hopefully you guys like our new dashboard. Journaling thing coming, Plaid crypto end of the year, and just a lot of good things coming. Like I said, by Q1. So we hope to get to the top of new additions and innovations in the space.
And then we'll do a part 3 in maybe like February.
Oh, yeah.
Turn of the year, February, March, end of quarter 1, recap, see if we can get Brian on here. If he's the first live guy.
I'd like to get like 2-3 guys on.
Yeah, honestly, whoever's the live guys, let's get him here.
Live guys
on.
Because we can, anybody who
especially he's in Florida.
Experience.
If they're in Florida, we come to Tampa, we come here, wherever it's easiest.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
And I like getting like I talk with Brian actually sometimes in like Discord. He's very intellectual, very intellectual.
Bro, you're just saying that because he's
intellectual
Asian.
guy, good guy to talk to about what's going on in the space, like ideas running by. So, and I run a couple ideas that we do by like some of our partners and different things that are in the space. So, you know how it is. Again, I was an affiliate. I was a trader before, so I want to see from your guys' perspective how things look before we launch it to the public. But also, it has to be guys like you because you understand it's a business, right?
It's still business, right? So you still got to make money.
For every pro in this business, for every pro, there's a con, right? That's just how the balance is. Perfectly balanced, as all things. It's Thanos line, I always say, as all things should be. Otherwise the firm will be like that if it's not, right? So
Yep.
yeah.
All right, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Rapid fire. You can give me a word. You can give me a sentence. Don't go too long on each one.
I'll try.
First one, Bitcoin.
Buy.
Good one. All right, Ripple.
Hold. Hold.
Hold. Okay. Yeah, Ripple's up really well this year. I mean, this week.
So just real quick on that, I don't want to go on a tangent about it, but I haven't really looked into like crypto too much lately, like what the coins do in the use case. But I thought Ripple was supposed to be like something like with the government or like, is it still? I don't even know.
Up in the air. I had a crypto guy on. Actually, the podcast just came out today. Still up in the air on how crypto will be used. Crypto, he said, could still get shafted, and someone else with better technology could come in and be the thing.
Because I know Ripple wanted to work with banks.
Yeah,
That
they
was
wanted to
their
be
initial.
exactly, and I think that's kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of heat from the government. If you listen to the podcast I did with this guy, they took a lot of heat.
They say that Trump's going to have like a crypto
Reserve and a whole
like a
board.
crypto board or something.
A whole thing.
So we'll see.
So that's why crypto bullish.
Anyway,
Meme coins.
risky.
But high
tempting.
risk, high reward.
No risk, no Rari.
Yeah, no risk, no Rari.
Don't go too risky.
Don't buy just off these. These are not financial advice.
Careful on TikTok.
ICT.
I can't trade. Sometimes.
He said Bitcoin was going to zero. So I put up the thing and I put up the Bitcoin 100K. I was like, everybody check on Peter Schiff, make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And everybody replied with, look at Michael. If somebody go check on Michael.
Listen, I think some guys are great teachers and bad traders. There was a point where I had a terrible streak, but what I was posting was great.
Right.
Sometimes it's do as I say, not as I do.
100%.
And that can be, relevant in trading too. Same thing with him. So like, I don't know, maybe just had a bad year, whatever. I don't really follow the guy too much, but from what I see, a lot of bullshit, but teaches people some good stuff. So I don't know. Or they think it is at least.
Right. Nancy Pelosi.
Out. Get her out.
Get her out. Elon.
Love him. Interested to see what the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
So you know that they plan on actually ending that department. Did you hear that? So they're going to start it.
Oh.
But it has an end date. July 4th of 2026, which will be the 150 or 250 year anniversary.
What did you say, July 2026?
July 4th, 2026, which is
so they got
200
like 8
years.
months.
200 years after.
Oh, no, year and 8 months.
Yeah, 200 years after America was founded.
Yeah.
They're going to end the Department of Government Efficiency with everything basically closed and everybody fired. But here's just a little side thing. If they fire all these government employees and they don't find new jobs for them, isn't that going to make the unemployment numbers look terrible because there's so many government employees?
Yeah.
So there's ripple effects to this.
Yeah.
But I hope that it's like ripping a Band-Aid. It's going to hurt. Some numbers might look bad, but long term, 10 years from now, man, we're going to be happy that they did it.
Yeah.
Good answer on that. FinTwit as a whole.
Double-edged sword.
Because it's got good stuff and it's got bad stuff.
Exactly. But that's anything, right? For the most part. It's about how you navigate the timeline.
The noise.
Really. The noise, yeah.
Top
Filter it
step.
out. Founding fathers.
Peter Brandt.
I want to use a good one for him. I don't know. Just dumb.
I was going to say boomer.
Boomer. That's a good one. Damn, I want to change my answer.
Last one.
Boomer.
Donald Trump.
MAGA, baby.
MAGA, baby. Dude, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the train to make this happen. Made it super easy. I feel like we could keep going for another 2 hours just talking shit.
Sure.
So we'll put a pin in it for now. Guys, if you listened all the way through, first make sure you're subscribed. That way you know the next time Brett comes on. Again, go back and watch part 1. It is on Zoom. I know that's harder to watch and listen to, but a lot of good information there as well. But I would take the rule changes and everything that we spoke about today as what is currently and most pressing, right? Because there's been some things that have changed, small things, but we touched on those today. So everything in today's episode is most current. But until next time, brother, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks guys for watching. Thanks, Austin, for having me.
Of course. And everybody, just so you know, link in the description for a discount with Tradeify. Brett's links are down below, so connect with him, connect with Tradeify, get in their Discord, get involved, and then do your own research on all the firms that were mentioned today. Please, please, please do your own research. Make sure you're educated as best you can in the financial decisions that you make. Don't just take our word for it. So for now, make sure you guys are subscribed, but we'll see you guys in the next one.